Says, welcome to Moving Through Menopause. I'm Philippa, and today joining me is Kelly Blanchard, and I'm really excited to chat with Kelly. Do you know what, Kelly? I've got a dose of the Bonnie Tylers today. I'm going to say that. Bonnie Tylers is, she's a singer in the UK who has a really kind of husky voice. So I'm channeling my inner Bonnie Tyler today.
Your inner sexy.
Yeah, that's it. It's never too late. It's never too early. It's never too late.
That's right.
So thank you, Dr. Kelly Blanchard, for joining me. Kelly's a professor of psychology and a health and nutrition coach. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. But Kelly's had her own story of battles with adrenal burnout and rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition in her midlife transition. And so, you know, women face these unique health challenges in midlife. So if you are feeling exhausted, anxious, achy, we have some suggestions to help you feel as energetic in your 60s as you did in your 30s. So welcome, Kelly, to the podcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I love podcasts. They're just fun to do, and I like to try and help people however I can, because, oh my goodness, midlife can be a little difficult to get through. So however we can help each other is what I want to do.
Yeah. And so, you know, I've managed to put my questions up here because, being a bit hoarse, I thought it might be an idea for us that, you know, these symptoms of adrenal insufficiency is something in particular, and I don't know if it's similar or different to the autoimmune condition that you experienced, rheumatoid arthritis. But, you know, what was life like for you when you were struggling with all of those symptoms?
You know, life was really stressful for me, honestly. I started perimenopause, although when I started perimenopause, it was kind of like something that nobody ever talked about at all. So I didn't even know what perimenopause was, or that I was starting it. You know, I just knew that my periods were starting to get irregular and just really heavy and just really annoying. But also in that phase of life, I was not the happiest in my marriage by any stretch. But to add on top of all of that, when I was like in my mid 40s or something along those lines, my son had a brain hemorrhage. And it was, the doctors had initially diagnosed it as brain cancer. And before they found out that it was a brain hemorrhage, and he suffered from a different type of thing. And so he had to have 3 brain surgeries. He's fine now, thank God. But during that time, there was about a 2-year period of time that we were going through a horrible time, just hoping that our son would live. And that really puts a lot of stress on you, to say the least.
Well, it does. And, you know, we have this kind of journey in common in a way. My eldest son was diagnosed with cancer when he was 1 year old.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I was only, can't remember how old I was now. I was 33 at the time. So it wasn't, you know, close to that time of perimenopause, but these things leave their mark. And, you know, and the struggles that I had with my mood and, you know, the anxiety of raising a child post-cancer treatment, because, you know, like your son, I was very fortunate that my son got some super treatments on our National Health Service and is a fit and healthy young man today.
Good.
But Thank you. So
Mhm.
this leaves its mark on us, as mothers, as people, and we carry those wounds, if you like, with us. And I think, you as a psychology professor can talk to that really, really well, I would imagine.
Yeah, it definitely leaves, for sure, it leaves a mark on you emotionally and mentally, but also physically.
Mm.
And so for me, it was a couple of years after the last of the brain surgeries, and he was having seizures. I ended up homeschooling them all because it was quite a time.
Mm.
But yeah, so I was anxious. I was losing weight because of my anxiety. I was just all of that you would assume that would go along with it, and it does.
Mm.
But so when you are anxious and stressed, and there's like a chronic anxiety, chronic stress, which is what you went through, I'm sure, and what I went through, uh, it it really it really wears down your adrenal system.
Mm.
So your fight or flight response system, it really wears it down. And for me, so I woke up in the middle of the night at one point and thought I was having a heart attack. And to the point where I had my husband take me to the hospital because I really thought I was having a heart attack. And it turned out that I wasn't, but
No.
that my thyroid functioning was low. And that didn't make any sense to me at all. And the ER doctor said, go to your doctor and get some thyroid medication or whatever.
Mm.
And and but I guess I'm one to question things. I am a very curious person. I
Mm.
like to dig into things and try and find solutions for myself because I I know my own body pretty well, just like your own body better than anybody else does.
Mm.
And to me, it didn't really make sense. Why would I have low thyroid functioning when that's not a thing in my family?
Mm.
And it just didn't seem right to me. So I ended up finding an integrative medicine doctor. He's a family doctor, but he's also a holistic guy who he looks at all of your life to see what's going on. The foods
Mm.
you eat, the exercise you do, the stresses you have in your life, how your marriage is going, or your kid, just all that stuff. And so I went to this guy to find out, what was going on with me, because I'm, certainly open to using medication if I have to.
Mm.
But what he suggested after he heard about the stuff that went on with my son, he said, "How about we check your adrenal gland functioning? Because you might just be out of battery power."
Mm.
And that's kind of what your adrenal gland, it produces hormones, but one of the hormones it produces is cortisol, and cortisol is your stress hormone.
Mm.
So he was thinking that maybe my stress hormone was just not my my adrenal gland was not producing the stress hormone because I was just done. I was out of stress hormone.
Yeah. So this chronic exposure to stress in our lives, taking a toll on our um, hormonal system. And
It does.
so, yeah, it's interesting because I also was diagnosed hypothyroid
Yeah.
in my at 40. I was 40 by this time. And this is not an unusual story, actually, is it,
Hmm.
for women in
No.
perimenopause, that
Yeah.
our hormonal system is awry on so many
Hmm.
levels. And also this, well, I mean, thyroid, low hypothyroidism, as it's
Hmm.
called,
Yeah.
is an autoimmune condition, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah.
So we're stepping onto that path. And
Yeah.
the question that you asked quite rightly is why? Why am I stepping onto this path when, as you said, you didn't have a family history. It wasn't really something you were expecting, you know, to come along. Now, so this then, how did this play out with the diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis, or am I misunderstanding it?
Those are actually two different things. They're two separate things that I went through. It's just wonderful. So, yeah, it's all yay midlife. But anyway, so the adrenal fatigue thing is what the doctor ended up saying that I had, and he's like, you know, all we need to do is reset your battery. And he said there are some sublingual drops you can buy over the counter, pregnenolone, I believe, and DHEA. And you put it, I had to, you know, use a certain amount of that every day. And come back in 6 months and we'll recheck your functioning, your adrenal gland functioning, because if your adrenal functioning is low, it can make your thyroid functioning low. So it's like the adrenal gland malfunction or lack of functioning is what underlies. It's like the cause of, or can be the cause of hypothyroidism. Right. And for me, that's what it was. So yes, my thyroid function was low, but it was because my adrenal glands were not producing cortisol anymore, because it was just done. I was like, okay, I'm done here. But the sublingual drops reset it for me. And so, you know, he's the expert, I'm not, but so I did it for 6 months, and we rechecked my cortisol levels and adrenal gland functioning, and it was fine. So it's like all I had to do is recharge that battery to help my thyroid be fine again too.
Okay. So that's interesting, isn't it? And I think, you know, in this modern age, we're being excuse me, we're being exposed a lot to the idea that we've got too much cortisol going round in our bodies. The notion that we might not have enough is a bit curious, isn't it?
Well, it was because I had too much cortisol going through my body that my adrenal gland just got tired enough and said, okay, I'm done producing.
Right.
So it was just that it was an overproduction of cortisol for a long time.
Right.
Tires out your adrenal gland, and it just says, yeah. And yeah, so your adrenal gland is kind of like your battery. So I had to reset that. And and it worked.
So so fast forward, I'm guessing this is another kind of joy, as you say, of midlife, that autoimmune conditions, and rheumatoid arthritis is another one that women actually commonly get diagnosed with around this time in midlife, when our hormones are going haywire. So, and this happened to you then subsequently?
So I was gardening, and I like to garden, and I woke up one morning, and both of my, like I could feel the tendons on both of my hands. I'm like, both of my hands, and all the way up my arms, you know, I could feel them, and my knuckles and my joints on both hands were swollen. The first 3 fingers, not my pinky, but the first 3 fingers, and I could feel the tendons sore and tender all the way up my arm, and it was equal on both hands. And I'm right-handed, and so I was thinking, I wonder if it has to do with gardening. You know, why is this happening all of a sudden? But I'm right-handed, so I didn't do things equally with both hands, so I didn't understand that either. So
yeah, that's a good point, actually.
So I ask why, and I'm curious, and so I dug into it, and like just did a bunch of digging on the internet to see what could be the cause. So I looked up my symptoms to see what it could be, because I had no idea it would be rheumatoid arthritis. But from what I found out, those are common early symptoms of, or that is common early symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. And it often happens, those early symptoms happen in your hands, like the little joints in your hands and your feet. And also I had read that it can start in your big toe.
Mm.
And I was like, well, that's weird because I haven't been able to bend my big toe very well for a while now. But I didn't think anything of it. It's like, all right, whatever, big toe. I got 9 others, so we're good. And so I just went on with life. But excuse me, when my hands started when they got swollen, and I just woke up one day, I thought, okay, this is so not right, and never happened to me before, and all that. And so anyway, I looked it up, and I learned that 2 big causes of inflammation in the body are sugar and gluten.
Oh, yes.
And so I gave up both of them on the spot.
Well done, you.
Well, I play the piano, and all I could think of is if I had rheumatoid arthritis, I did not want to be able to play the piano, and all I could. So I did a bike ride. I raised money for the Rheumatoid Arthritis Association for the Arthritis Association, and had sponsored a child with rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh.
And so I kind of knew a little bit about that anyway, and I had studied and I just learned about rheumatoid arthritis and what it can do to you, and I just did not want that for myself. And so I thought, all right, well, if I can give up gluten and sugar right now, I'm going to do that because I don't want to end up crippled. And I love cookies, like love them.
What's not to like?
Right. Well, so much that I had a Cookie Monster t-shirt, pretty much this color actually, that had a big old Cookie Monster on it, and I wore that all the time because I just love cookies, and I consider myself a cookie connoisseur. But those days are over, unfortunately.
Yes.
Anyway, so I gave up that, and I gave up sugar because I thought, all right, well, at least I can start on this to see if this helps. And lo and behold, it took about 2 weeks before the swelling and the pain on my hands to go down and go away. And I subsequently discovered that that's termed a rheumatoid, a flare-up. And so I had one. And I ended up going back to the integrative medicine guy and said, these were my symptoms and this is what I did. I gave up gluten, I gave up sugar. What do you think about that? He's like, well, probably it's more likely the gluten. But yeah, it's good. And your symptoms have resolved. All right, let's see if it continues. And he said, but it sounds like you're doing the right thing. And so because he said it's probably not the sugar, I added back a little bit of sugar, but I wanted to make sure to keep my grams of sugar below 25 because I read that you shouldn't have any more than that anyway. And you can get to 25 grams of sugar with a couple of teaspoons in your coffee and so I gave up soda like on the spot because that's the easiest thing to give up when you reduce your sugar intake is to give up sweetened beverages. And that's just, and since I gave up gluten anyway, cookies have sugar in them, so I didn't eat that anymore. And so that kind of helped too. But I have not had a rheumatoid arthritis flare-up since then. It's been probably 10 years because I gave up gluten. And in digging more about the gluten, I honestly think it's more the way that we
grow
process
farm it,
gluten here in the United States, so I think that's probably why I can't eat it here. But so I don't have celiac disease, but I definitely am gluten sensitive. And for me, it's the buildup of gluten in my system that is what causes the joint inflammation. With a lot of people, it causes digestive issues, but for me, it causes joint issues. So gluten sensitivity can manifest itself in a number of different ways. And just for me, it was with my joints. And although I miss bread and I miss cookies, I am like, it's okay because I can move my fingers. It's great, So.
Well, It's interesting because this is a story that we hear a lot now. You know, a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis requires us to have blood tests and to test for the,
Mhm.
you know, the rheumatoid factor and all of
Yeah.
these things.
Right.
Now, you know, and we know that in
Mhm.
midlife, losing estrogen, which actually is anti-inflammatory in and of itself,
Mhm.
this is part of this puzzle of how inflammation leads to these kinds of widespread joint aches and pains that
Yep.
may or may not be rheumatoid arthritis. Now,
Right. Mhm.
but you know, for me, my experience is very similar to yours. Interestingly, that you know, when I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, that was when
Mhm.
I went gluten-free. And
Oh.
actually, yeah, and actually, I had a lot of digestive issues that you
Mhm.
kind of mentioned there,
Mhm.
and absolutely, there is no doubt. You know, sometimes on occasion you might be eating out, and you call it getting glutened. I'm sure you have a similar sort of phrase, and so sometimes you inadvertently get glutened,
Mhm.
and so the first thing I feel is my big toe joint kind of doing this, and I
Oh,
know that,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I know I've been glutened. So, you know, we're not going around advocating everybody giving up gluten willy-nilly. And, you know,
Yeah.
it is good to work with a holistic, as you say, an integrated medicine doctor, a functional medicine doctor,
Mhm.
someone who's giving us this holistic view of our habits, our lifestyle, as well as, you know, the blood tests that go along with it to sort of dig a
Mhm.
bit more deeper into what is
For
at
sure.
the root,
Yeah.
you know, of these conditions and these issues that we might have. And menopause is undoubtedly playing its part in this puzzle. Now, I'm kind of interested to know, because obviously you are a psychology professor, a little more about the natural strategies that you've implemented to reduce inflammation and restore your energy in midlife.
Well, besides the giving up gluten to reduce
Mhm.
inflammation, you know, one of the other things that I do uh, is I exercise a lot. I, to me, exercise is a lifesaver,
Mm.
really, for me.
Mm.
Um, it reduces. I've struggled with anxiety my whole life,
Okay.
and I never got diagnosed with anxiety, but I,
Mhm.
because I don't really want to be diagnosed. I know I'm anxious. Nobody has to tell me that.
No.
So, but for me, well, exercise, not just for me,
Mhm.
exercise reduces anxiety and
Yeah,
reduces
yeah.
depression.
Yeah.
And it reduces it at an equal level as medication does, depending on how depressed or anxious you are. So
Yes.
for my level of anxiety, it exercise really helps. And so I go on. I mentioned bike riding. I go on very long bike rides, and I do weightlifting, which is also very important in midlife because we start
Mhm.
losing our muscle mass.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I do that. I like to trail run, and I I also do pole fitness.
Oh gosh, do you?
I do.
That's really hard, isn't it, actually?
Well, it's great for your core and upper body strength. It's
Yeah.
wonderful, and the thing that gets, you know, pole is very. It's got a bad rap because it's, associated with, the sensual stuff.
Of course.
I'm way too old for that stuff, so
No,
maybe I
you're
could go into
not.
nursing homes. I don't know, but no, but I do it for pole. I love the core workout it gives you and the upper body strength it gives you, and it's a lot of fun, and it's like playing in a jungle gym when you were a kid. So it really is. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah. And that playful piece is really important as we're
Mhm.
getting older, isn't it? To do the kinds of things we did when we were kids makes us feel a lot more like kids, actually. So,
It does, and
yeah.
finding something that you like to do, some physical activity that you enjoy doing is
Mm,
key. Because
mm,
if you hate to run, you're not gonna go out and
mm.
run.
No.
And that's the thing that everybody thinks that, "Oh, I'm gonna go run." You don't have to. If you like fencing, get into fencing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or taekwondo, or I did that too. I got almost a black belt, but not quite, but I did that
Mm,
way back. But
right.
yeah, I mean, there's so many. Pickleball is popular.
Mm,
There's so many physical activities you could get involved in. It's just try it out. Try something, and you might find that you really like it. And so these things, I didn't start pole until probably 5 years ago. So yeah, and it's just such fun, and it's such a wonderful community of people. And that's not why that's so I didn't come on here to talk about pole, but whatever. It's
no.
my point is my
Yes,
point
yes.
is to find something you love, and it really does reduce your anxiety and makes you feel a lot better about yourself and improves your self-esteem. It reduces inflammation because you're activating your joints,
Mm,
and it actually reduces the pains associated with arthritis
yes.
in general,
Yeah, yeah.
osteoarthritis and
Yeah.
rheumatoid arthritis, and it really helps. You wouldn't think that it was like, I don't want to move, I got arthritis, but no, that's the thing that helps you and
Mm,
reduces pain.
yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I mean, you're preaching to the converted here
Oh
because
yeah, so
obviously
for sure.
as a physiotherapist, this is
Yeah.
what I encourage people to do day in, day out. And it is counterintuitive. I give you that. But the benefits, for people who experience it, and I think this sometimes is the difficulty that we face, that we have to kind of experience these benefits for ourselves in order to believe it, really.
Hmm.
And that's the barrier sometimes that we're up against. So, I was with people at the weekend, and there was a young woman who was kind enough to share that she had been struggling with anxiety. And, she said that she'd elected to take up cycling or get back cycling.
Hmm.
And she said it took a full 2 weeks for her to start to notice the difference, but that, in the third week, things really started to change for her.
Hmm.
And so this is the thing that we need to encourage people to, yes, absolutely choose something that you love. Choose something that maybe you once loved and you gave up and stopped doing.
Hmm.
Choose something that is fun, maybe with a group of people to egg you on and encourage you on the days when you don't feel like doing it,
Hmm.
and uh, and
Yeah.
and and to stick with it for a period of time, to just see consistency is key, and to get the benefits really. 2 weeks is not very long, is it? Let's be
No, it's
honest,
not. No. Yeah.
for us to be feeling that.
But yeah, but you have a really good point about if you do things with a group, it really
Mm,
helps because
mm,
then you build that community, you build the accountability also.
mm.
And I was just thinking as you were talking, I watched a video on Facebook the other day about these like a swing dance competition. And
Oh, wow.
I just think that would be so fun to do swing
Yeah.
dancing, but it's just to learn it, or dancing in general.
Mm,
It's really, and dancing actually is good for your brain too.
mm.
And we, yeah, as we lose the estrogen, it causes so many different symptoms, and a lot of them, I don't, we got to do something, right?
Right.
and and that's and it helps to, it really does help to do some sort of physical activity, something that you love. But the hardest thing is to get started.
It is always.
It's it really is. And
Mm.
I had to write a dissertation for my PhD, and
Okay.
I had 3 little kids at the time. and
Oh,
not much time to work on it. Like
no.
6, 4, and 2, I think they were when I started on my dissertation.
Wow.
And so it was difficult to set aside time to be able to work on it. Well, during that time, my house was sort of a chaotic mess because kids running around and messes all over the place, and and yeah. So anyway, I came across somebody who called herself the Fly Lady.
Okay.
Flylady.net, and she's a wonderful person. She's still up and doing her thing, and she's got a Facebook group and everything. And she was all about organizing your house, and that's her whole thing. And so I adopted some of the things. So one of her things is shine your sink.
Okay.
When you have a shiny sink, then it's nice and you feel good about life, And
there's truth in that.
yeah, and make your bed in the morning, and just starting simple. But one of her things was, and still is, you can do anything for 15 minutes. You can read a book, you can talk on the phone, you can watch TV, you can scroll the internet, you can make dinner, you can sweep the carpet, you can whatever. You can do anything for 15 minutes. You can take a walk for 15 minutes. And that, so I took that, and she meant it for, like you can, clean your kitchen for 15 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, take the dishes out of the dishwasher, put them in, whatever, 15 minutes. Set your timer for 15 minutes and do it. And that's all you have to do, 15 minutes. Well, I adopted that to write my dissertation. So, because I had the little kids around, I really didn't have, I'm like, I can't devote 3 hours today. I have kids to take care of. But I could find 15 minutes. And so I did. So I got a timer. I set it for 15 minutes. And I worked on my dissertation for 15 minutes. And when the timer went off, I stopped. And I got to decide whether I wanted to do another 15 minutes or whether I wanted to stop for the day and be done. And sometimes I had to stop for the day and be done. And sometimes I wanted to. And sometimes I wanted to continue on. Well, that is in 15-minute chunks. That's how I got my 200-page dissertation done.
Wow.
And it really worked for me. And so it's something you can apply to anything in life, whether it's cleaning your kitchen or taking a walk for 15 minutes. So put your shoes on and walk out the front door, for 15 minutes. Now, hopefully you're not just like ending somewhere 15 minutes away. You're like, okay, now how am I going to get back? But yeah, so the point is it's easier to think about doing something in a small chunk than it is in a large chunk, like hours on a dissertation, or like a 3-hour bike ride, or whatever it is. But that's how you get started. And if you can't do 15 minutes, then start with 10 or 5 minutes. The thing is, it's getting over that initial hump of getting started. Once you get over that initial hump of getting started, going to your studio, for example, you just get in the car and go to the studio. And if you meet people there, that's even better because you got that accountability built in.
Yes.
And but that's the thing, is as long as you can get yourself started, then you can continue. That's the key.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great tip. Manageable chunks. Keep it short and sweet. Don't set yourself goals that you're going to be unable to sustain, because successes early on in any sort of lifestyle habit change, whatever it is, are really going to reinforce that commitment to continue. Whereas if you fall at the first hurdle, setting yourself a goal that's unachievable, then so many people fall off the wagon at that point and don't ever get back on it. So so I love that tip. And as you say, you can apply it across the whole of your life. But to exercise, it works perfectly well, as you suggest. So, I'm just curious whether the thoughts and beliefs piece of this puzzle, because there are suggestions, and I don't dispute this, in scientific evidence that cognitive behavioral approaches to menopause symptom management has generated some benefits and improvements. Is that something that you can speak to?
Well, in terms of cognitive behavioral therapy, your thoughts can drive your actions. And if you think that you can or you can't do something, or you feel a certain way, you don't feel, or you can't do something because you feel a certain way, then you're right, you can't. So the key is changing, number one, identifying when those automatic thoughts go through your head, whatever you deem as negative thoughts in your head, whether it's I'm getting old and oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. And, what am I going to do? Well, recognize when you're thinking that, first of all. Mm-hmm. One of the, I guess my mantra is that really motivates me to do stuff and to get out of that negative thought pattern is today is the youngest you will be for the rest of your life. So if not now, then when?
Yeah.
That motivates me to do all kinds of stuff.
I can imagine. but there is this. You look back at photographs of yourself 10 years ago and think, why did I think I was overweight, or why did I think I was wrinkled, or why did I think, and so if only on that day we were acknowledging that this is, as young as we're going to be, let's put on the big pants and get on with it, and really live our lives to the fullest today, and every day that comes. Now, it's not easy. You were talking about struggling with anxiety and low mood. And stress. So, and I've had my own journey with those feelings too. So I can really relate to. In fact, this morning I was lying there thinking, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up.
But you did, and look at this. See?
Well, I did.
Here we are. Yeah. Yep.
So, so this is real. It doesn't necessarily leave us. And we're not sort of, here in this land full of rainbows and twittering birds and unicorns, are we? It's still real life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And and we're all human at the end of the day. We all have our own struggles. But my experience is that if I get outside in the fresh air and go for a walk, I will only feel better for doing it.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
so I have that to draw upon, as you say, on those days when I don't feel like getting out or doing anything or whatever. So the first thing is, make it really simple, these small, easy chunks. And so you're never going to be as young as you are today. And if you've got something that you've been meaning to do, then why not today? Could be the day for it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, sorry, I was just going to ask, how are you helping people with all this knowledge and experience that you have now?
I have spent my career not only teaching psychology, but I also have a business that help people in companies go further. I help them reach their full potential, but I also help companies solve their people problems. So, but one of the things that I do in doing that is that's just, I got to take another direction too. But one of the things that I've done in doing that is help people with mid-level managers and stuff with executive coaching. I've helped people improve themselves so they get promoted. So I help them work on certain aspects of themselves, like career coaching type of thing, but also professional coaching that I've done with people. And so from a business perspective, I help people understand where they are and what's preventing them from getting to the next level. And in doing that, so I say all that because that's where I started with teaching people to set goals and realistic little milestones and little steps along the way, because people typically set too high goals for themselves and then they get overwhelmed, and then they don't reach the goals and they feel really bummed out about themselves. But that's, so yeah, I started that like, I don't know, 25 years ago or so. And then as I really wanted to start teaching psychology, and I only really started that about 10 years ago, honestly. And so that's, and when I was, so then I, from there, I found that I got the most passionate when I was talking to my students about health psychology and really paying attention to stress and sleep and anxiety and nutrition and movement and all of that. And from there, I decided that this is where my passion really is. How about we take my coaching background in organizations and my, my psychology background, and we combine them to do this, to do the health and nutrition coaching. And so that's something that I really have realized in this late stage of life. That's my career, not life. That is really what I love to do. That's kind of what my passion is. I really want to help people get healthier. I want to help them. I had a client who said that she knows that the her that used to be there is still there somewhere inside her, like buried somewhere deep inside her. And she wants that person to come out again. Like she wants to rediscover that self that she was before. And I thought that really captured what a lot of us midlife women go through. We used to be this person back in our 20s who were like this, with full of vitality and full of strength and full of energy and all that stuff, or go back to teenage years, but whatever. And we want to be that person again. We know that person is still there inside, but we look in the mirror and you can't see it. And so my passion and the reason I do what I do with the health coaching is to help people find that inner part of them again.
So where can people find you, Kelly? Oh,
sorry, I have allergies, and so my throat gets a little weird too. Where can they find me? Okay, so they can find me. I have a website called revitalizeyourhealth.com with little dashes between the words. And actually, there's a free guide on there about three easy steps, like simple steps you can take in order to kind of help find yourself again, like feel like you again. And because that's really what I have found that people want, us midlife women, we've been through so much. We're the sandwich generation too. Like we're taking care of our kids, we're taking care of our parents. Even when our kids grow up and they're gone, we're still taking care of them because we're still worried of them. That never ends.
That never ends, absolutely.
And sometimes they don't even move out. So they're still there.
My eldest son is 25 and he's got a bedroom upstairs. So yes.
Yep.
We worry about them every day. But
do.
Anyway,
yeah.
So,
but that causes a lot of stress. And so we're busy taking care of our parents. We're busy taking care of our kids still. And it's hard for us to even find time to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, is like we've spent our whole adulthood sacrificing for everybody else, because that's what we're supposed to do as women. That's what our society has said. And we got the nurturing instinct and all that stuff. Kind of comes with the territory of being female. And and so we want to take care of other people, And we feel like, oh, they're more important than we are. You know, we just regularly sacrifice ourselves for other people. Well, then when we get to midlife, we're at a point where, like, okay, I've given everything I can. What about me?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's really a super place for us to finish the conversation. I'm going to ask you to share that link with me, and then I can put it in the show notes for your quiz, if you would, or
Okay,
your
yeah,
guide.
of course.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming along and telling me all about your journey through midlife, and to see you so smiley at the other side of it. That's incentive, I must say, if not in and of itself. So I've really enjoyed this chat, and you know, we've got so many similarities in the paths that our lives have taken. It's quite fascinating, actually. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with honesty and you know, and such compassion for people to move through midlife and beyond, to rediscover yourself, find the things that you love to do, feel fabulous over 50, feel fabulous at any age and stage of life. So thank you so much, Kelly, for coming along today.
And thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful. It's been fun.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Take care, and bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.